Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
On this episode, we're talking about parenting your parent. I'm in my mid-50s, and my mom and dad are getting up there, and they both are independent and healthy and happy living in Waco. But I have to confess, I always worry about that phone call from Waco in the middle of the day, wondering, oh, is mom or dad okay? So to talk about that today, Wendy Whiteman, she is a best-selling author and the author of a new book called Creative Caregiving and Beyond, Helping Mom and Dad. Wendy, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us what caused you to write the book.
Well, I've been practicing law in elder law sector for about 17 years and altogether 33 years. And I've been helping families through the years navigate those waters. They're very sensitive and very emotional. And I started realizing I get the same questions over and over. And once the client has those questions answered, they calm down. So I figured I can't be everywhere at the same time, but I could write a book. And maybe that could help some families.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just as an expert on elder law, you're living it yourself. You've been taking care of your mom for a while.
That's so true, yes. My mother lives with me, and I'm in charge of her caregiving. So I've learned a lot through that process. And it's not easy. It's one of the hardest jobs I've ever undertaken. And but it's a responsibility that someone has to do it. We have to do it. They're the greatest generation. And we have to come in there and do our part.
Well, and because of COVID-19 and everybody having to hunker down, a lot of people my age suddenly did become caretakers, didn't they?
That's true. That's true. And a lot of people have got a chance to get to know their parents even more, and maybe even recognize some of the things that they've been going through that they just didn't know once they had an opportunity to spend more time with them.
So give us some takeaways from the book. What are some big ones that you'd like to cover?
Well, the big takeaway is just sitting down and having the conversation. That's the big thing. I get that from clients all the time. Well, how do we talk to mom and dad about what if this happens? What if one of them has to go into a facility or the hospital? Who's going to come in and what is their ability to pay for it? That type of thing. But approaching mom and dad. And so in the book, we had a fictional family that's gathered for Thanksgiving. And they begin to notice that their mom and dad are not as sharp as they had been. And they start the process of having that conversation. So it's important to do it. It may not be comfortable, but finding a way that the whole family can come together, have the conversation gradually, and not make your parents feel like you're bombarding them. You're just coming against them in some way, but you're on their side.
We're going to put the cover of the book on the screen because it's a beautiful cover. How long did it take you to write?
It took me about a year because I'm juggling so many different roles right now as a parent and as well as my law practice and parenting my mom as well. So it took me quite a while, but it had been in my heart for about 10 years. Yes. And I just needed to push it out.
What's been the reaction so far to the book?
It's been great. It's been great. Everyone I've spoken with so far have said that they've come across some things that they never thought about. They wanted to know, how to approach it, and so it's been good with a lot of helpful tips to it. Yes.
Well, and your audience keeps growing by the day because I think they call it the silver tsunami. That you have all of these baby boomers about to retire, and so this book is one that I think millennials need to be reading as well.
I think so too, because millennials are on the they're great with technology. And so a lot of times they're doing the research for their parents and their grandparents to find out what facilities are out there, what services are out there. So they've helped a lot in the family. And that's kind of covered in our book, too. We have 3 generations of family members, and those millennials are getting in there helping out, doing some of that research.
And I know, just speaking for myself, I think there's a lot of people out there who are thinking about getting the umbrella when it starts raining.
Yes.
So after mom or dad had fallen, now suddenly we're scrambling and trying to figure things out. That you really should have a plan in place before something happens.
You should. But practically speaking, I'd say 85 to 90% of my clients don't. Mm-hmm. So we are handling and developing strategies for them at that catastrophic point. It's something, we still can do things, but it's just you're more calm, and it's a less sensitive time when you can make decisions when you don't have to. So
yes,
pre-planning is wonderful. Yes, that's the best case scenario.
And you're dealing with, like you mentioned, so many emotions. So when the parent suddenly has a role reversal with the child, that can be difficult.
It can be. It really can be. And I think if they can open up that communication beforehand, the child begins to understand how the parent thinks and what the parent wants. So when they're making those decisions, they're not feeling guilty whether or not they made the right decision. They're just simply feeling as an agent and making the decisions the parent wanted.
What was the toughest thing about writing the book for you?
The toughest thing is just experiencing it for myself. Mm-hmm. I've comforted clients through the years, but just sitting down and realizing I was going through it at the same time, it was very tough. And realizing as well, I have to have a plan for my son as well, because he's the only child. And I have a lot of clients who are only children, mm-hmm. and there's no one else there to kind of bounce things off of.
Sure.
So it's just realizing it's real, and we have to do it.
That's very cool.
Yes.
And people can get this on Amazon and bookstores, or
and Amazon.com, all the bookstores. You can Barnes & Noble. You can order it as well. Walmart, all the major bookstores as well. Yes.
Outstanding. Well, Wendy, you've been a great guest. We'll have to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And we're going to put the website up on the screen so everybody can get in touch with her. WendyWhitemanLaw.com is the website. Thank you, Wendy. You've been amazing.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.